So in today's video, we're going to go ahead and go over all the polishing process, and we're going to grind it, and we're going to seal it, and we're going to make a beautiful concrete countertops. They actually came out amazing. Everybody loves them. At first I was unhappy. Wish I could do it again. I wish I could take the knowledge that I have now and start. Isn't that always the way it works? At the end of the project, you wish you knew at the beginning what you now know. My biggest thing would be I would find a 25 grit maybe of this, and I would do most of the work with that. I would do very little work with the grinder, and it would be much better. So let's get on with the video. Oh, by the way, welcome back to the channel, everybody.
You'll notice the little swirls here from the grinder. I still have to sand all those out. And the reason I ended up with this, and I call it the experimental, is because I ran out of concrete. So I got a whole bunch of rocks and just threw them in here so that I could make up the volume. And then of course now I had big rocks sticking out and had to grind them all off.
Well, I didn't really get a lot of good shots. Matter of fact, I didn't get any of me actually doing the polishing. So I thought I would just kind of go over what I had and what I did. I had a different polisher that I had got at the auto parts store, and it worked just fine, but it ended up destroying itself. It cost me over $100. I forget what this one cost, but it wasn't all that much. And it's a Makita 9565 CV. And what's nice about it is it has a dial here, so it's multiple speed, and it has a nice little guide here so you can see how many RPMs you want, and you can see what number that hits at. So this is awesome, and it did everything, and it worked out. So I got this little guard. I had a different guard that was attached on with like a hose clamp that you would tighten up. That thing destroyed itself. And so I ended up buying this one, and this one has the lever that you just loosen it and slide it around, and it works much better. The reason I have this is because when I'm going in tight, I'll show you here. Let's say I was doing the original grind. I'll just set it here. I'm not going to actually put it on. You can see I'm right here near the edge when you slide this thing back. So that's for getting in there. When you're polishing, it actually gets a lot closer. Whoops. I guess you got to put the Velcro against it. So that gets you almost right to the edge. So you can pull this back here, hold it with your hand, and you can get really close. Slide it over for normal. I think I just had it tied. Vacuum cleaner goes on here. This thing works really well. So what I did for my pads is I bought the Stadia, and it's a complete set. Starts out at 50, which is this guy right here, and goes up to 6,000. Problem I had with this is there's only two 50s and 200s, and then it's a 200, 400, 800. It gets doubles every time. Well, since this thing's a little rough, it takes a lot of the 50s to go ahead and get the polish or get all the little marks from this guy out. By the way, I bought this one, thought I'd give it a try, and this one was horrible. I mean, it just did a terrible job. So this was the winner chicken dinner, as my wife would say. And it still was tough. So what I ended up doing is buying this box right here. And it was just 50s, whole box of 50s. And I used them all up. As you can see, it's empty. I saw somewhere that they actually had these diamond polishing pads in a 25 grit, which would be perfect. I mean, if I were doing it over, I would search and I would get the lowest grit possible in these guys, and then I would just hit it with this enough that I could expose some of the little pebbles that my wife put in there. It's kind of getting it dirty here with all my stuff. And then I'd come back with like a 25 grit and I would do it. Now for the corners right here, I had this disc on. And we'll just pretend like we have this guy on. I'm not gonna fasten it. And then I would just held it right at about a 45. And I just went along until I had a 45. And then I did a very quick with that, and then went to the 50 and just worked it so that I got this edge. And it's pretty consistent. You can tell it's done by hand. It's not perfect. It did not come out of a machine, but it's very lovely. So let's talk sealer now. I had this polished to where it felt like glass. And then I went to Home Depot and I got some concrete sealer and I put it on there, and it actually just became rough. It's getting smooth now because, you know, we've been using it and rubbing on it. Now it's starting to get smooth again. But my advice is they make a much better sealer that you can get from, I think on the island here, I think Seabo's has it. And I would have gotten a much better finish. Someday I may even sand this old finish off and put a new one on. I don't know, that's a lot of work. And as time goes by, it's starting to feel smooth. So do your homework on your sealer. Get your sealer, get everything, make sure you use high quality sealer. Otherwise, all your hard work with the polishing kind of goes away. Everybody's seen the Peninsula. The Peninsula got these little wormy things in it. I don't know what they are. There's no bump there. Everything's smooth. I tried to sand them out, but I mean, something to do maybe with the way the dye, maybe was it mixed long enough? I don't know. But these guys do not have wormies in them. Oh, big glare from the window. Let's see. There we go. There's a sinkhole. Janet's little rocks in the front. Boy, the window and the glare sure makes it look bad. We'll see how it looks over here where there's no light on it. I just put sealer on it, so hopefully, well, you know, some stuff like this happens with concrete. And here's the little experimental guy. Got some light spots and dark spots, which I don't know what causes that, but rocks came out kind of cool. What this would be awesome for right here is a shower. If you were to take a shower and drop all these rocks in it like this and sand them all out, make them smooth, and use it for like a shower, that would be pretty amazing. The countertops turned out horribly, so I ground them down, the whole thing back down, and started over. This time, not too bad. What you're seeing here mostly is some dust because these were finished last night. But in the old one right here, there was like this line, this crisp line that went just like this and just like this, almost like you had put tape down. It was horrible. So I sanded it, ground it down back, and then refinished it. But check this out. That's kind of glossy, but look, woohoo! Isn't she a thing of beauty? There's our sink. And I just did this one today. I ground it down and redid it, but lots of light in here.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, maybe learned something from it. I learned a lot doing it. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments. I try to always answer all the questions. And next, either we're going to go to putting down the floor or maybe putting on the siding. I'm not sure. I have to take a little break for a week or so here and get my thoughts together, but hope everybody's having a good week, and this will be Stinging Nettle Farms signing out.